I have been waiting for thee to overcome thy trials. Long have I waited for thy return. Know this, his life is not yet ended.
I already said this before, so it'd be redundant to say it again. What do you mean?
What do you mean?
It all started on that ill-fated day when the usurper thought to extinguish his light. Before he fades away, recount all thou hast seen and felt, all thou hast gained in thy journey's course.
I look now to the past to see the roads that traveled on this journey.
Gallica and thee sought to take the head of Louise, but thy efforts came to naught. So, ye moved instead to join a tournament to decide the land's king.
In the prince's name.
Though thy plan was reckless, thou didst win the trust of the people by the support of peers and subjects alike. Thus, thou didst declare thyself the prince.
It was all for victory.
After overcoming many obstacles, thou didst finally lift the prince's curse. Yet by the cruel machinations of another, the young prince...
He lies dead before me.
Thy sole mission was to save the prince. Bereft of him, thou hast no further reason to live.
Do I get like a bad ending if I say this one?
That's not true.
If the prince is dead, wert thy efforts all for naught?
His will lives on.
His will lives on.
So thy resolve is yet unbroken. So be it. Thou hast earned the truth. He was consumed by the curse, and was taken by a deep, abiding slumber. Yet his soul remained alive.
Am I gonna like claim his soul? His soul's gonna like go inside the Elder, probably. That's my guess.
So from his earthly form, I extracted his soul, that he might travel the land in Odyssey. And thus, his stilled sands began to flow once more. Thy journey hast taken thee far, and taught thee much. So now I ask thee, who art thou?
I am no one.
I'm the prince's friend.
Is that truly thy role? Clear your mind and think, to name but a few. Thy parents? Memories of thy youth? Hast thou any recollection of where and how thy youngest years were spent? Yes, thy memories begin the moment thou befriend the prince. Dost thou suspect the reason?
I don't have a past? I guess that is really weird now you think about it, that like every earliest memory is like related to the prince, and like they had like that. I remember early in the game they had that one flashback with the Elda and the prince. Do I not have a past?
I don't have a past.
As I said, thou hast nothing. Thou art a being of mine own creation.
Am I a homunculi?
'Twas Gallica alone who the Resistance laid their hopes upon all those days past. Thy life had yet to begin. All thou hadst, all that had been bestowed, was a memory. Thy mission to save the prince. Thy memories of youth in the prince's company, and the void enshrouding all else in thy past. All signs of thy conjured existence.
I have nothing?
Nay, the words of the prince in thy memory are unmistakably of his true heart. The memories gained on thy journey, the friendships made, the trust forged, These true things art thine own. All thy trials, all thy experiences, wert to prepare thee for this day, to share the strength thou hast gained with thy other self.
What, the prince and I are like two halves of one? Where exactly are you going with this?
My other self?
The trust and friendship I gained has been there to support me. But if they'd known I came from nothing, that I am nothing, would people have stood by me, believed in me? And the same goes for the desire to help anyone in need. How is it that I've touted such a laughably idealistic belief this long?
Accept the truth, and thou wilt face an ordeal beyond any you have yet faced. If thy desire is instead for freedom, thou mayest still abandon thy mission and end it here.
Now, I kind of want to see how this game, like, actually ends, so I'm not doing that.
Is that right?
I see. My true identity is...
So I bid thee answer my final question. Who art thou in truth?
I am the prince.
I am the prince.
What is this? I feel a curious resonance.
Could this be? But how? Impossible.
Hey, what's going on?
What awaits us now?
Ah, life is not yet lost. Thou wert born apart from the prince's flesh, born of his desire to change the world. In his stead didst thou travel the world. Thou didst support his heart, and became his living fantasy. That is thy true self. Thou art everything the prince sought to be, his ideal.
So I'm like a manifestation, or like a part of the prince. I'm gonna be real with you. I understand, but I don't fully understand the logistics of this. But like, I get the gist of it. Basically, I'm like a husk, and I'm like part of the prince, I think, or something.
It all began with the novel in thy possession.
And I'm like his, like, they said they like made a parallel with like the fantasy thing, and like I guess that's where the fantasy thing comes in, where I'm like another self of the prince or something.
Drawn by the divine relic, Magla coalesced into flesh, and flesh coalesced into form.
Sure.
The form of an elder, as I once was.
Now it all makes sense why I have two different colored eyes.
Time hath come, awaken, reborn.
I thought that was just a character design choice.
Utopia thou wouldst chase, nay, but thine own.
So it turns out the heterochromia thing is actually plot related. Yo, silver hair. All right. Not the worst twist in the world. I'm not like, oh, it's amazing or anything. It's fine. It's okay.
What? What is this?
I'm cool with it. I don't particularly love it. I don't particularly hate it. I'm cool with it. It makes sense, I guess. It checks out a little shaky with like the logistics of it, but like I'm fine with it. I'm cool with it. I'm down with it. I'm like, you know, I could take it or leave it, basically. I still think my least favorite part of the story is like Luis's comeback, because like I think that's just the worst part, and the Rella stuff. The Rella stuff and Luis's like fake out death, still the worst part of the story writing wise. This is fine. It's not like, oh my word, like that was so awesome or anything, or like that's such a cool twist, but like it's good enough, I guess. I guess it's good.
What's happened?
Thou hast done well to guide him this far.
This voice. I'm sure I've heard it before.
Thy mind should now be clearing. Remember now thy true charge. He was never a member of the Resistance. The mission, the departure, was thine alone. And thereafter didst thou encounter him.
Who are you? Wait, what am I saying?
In those long ago days, he had just been born into this land. Newborn in form, if not in appearance.
Yeah, so that's why Gallica said, who are you? She clearly knew you weren't the prince or something or other.
The boy needed a guide. Thus, I decided his memories would be thine. Thou wouldst share past and purpose.
Dude, Gallica's such a bland and boring character. Like, she's your guide for the entire game, and now the game is just like, oh, Gallica, yeah, the boy needed a guide, that's Gallica. Like that's all Gallica is. I was really hoping there would be some cool stuff going on with Gallica, but nah, she's just a guide till the very end.
A memory so crafted to suit thee. My journey to the capital would not be made alone, but alongside him.
No, that can't be. He was there when we got our orders.
I never thought I would have to ask this of you. But there are so few of us left now. There is no one else to turn to. Will you infiltrate the military to deliver a message to our contact there? This is your mission. For all our sakes, you cannot fail.
No. But... I was alone?
By this choice, he might be saved. By these gentle, necessary lies, we could live to see this day when our dearest wish is fulfilled. As he traveled alongside thee, he gained both strength and wisdom. It is only by thy efforts that my voice reached him. He has now been saved. And so the journey ends here. Thou hast fulfilled thy mission admirably.
What? Wait just a minute. What do you mean, it ends here?
From here on, thy path is thy own. Choose thy own future for thyself, and may the fates smile on thy journey. How do we make sense of this?
Is it really you? How do you feel?
I feel fine, I think.
I like silver hair, but I think with your outfit, this just looks weird. I think I think in theory I would like the silver hair, but I just think with the outfit it's too white for me. I guess.
There seems to be no doubt. He is still himself. But I also sense His Highness within him.
Yeah, I'm like a figment of his imagination or whatever.
Everyone? I need to tell you something. The truth is...
One black screen later.
So let me get this straight. You're saying it's not a matter of our captain and his highness joining together, but that the former was this disembodied entity sprung from the latter?
Then that's why he had no memories? 'Cause he didn't even exist?
Yeah, it's a neat twist, I guess. I don't love it, I don't hate it. It gets a pass by me.
I see. Finally, I understand the strange feeling I had sensed upon our meeting.
What, you foresaw this coming, Yufa?
What shaped you, so to speak, was the prince's will itself. A part of his consciousness. Yes, the prince's very heart. He was his soul given flesh. Perhaps the form we knew was one shaped by material magla, much like how the dragon god manifests beyond the vessel Drakadios.
A mass of magla with a will. Forget the dragon god. He may as well have been a dragon himself. Small wonder he awakened to an archetype before anyone else. It was no great aptitude for magic. He himself was composed of pure magla.
Or I'm the protagonist and we needed a gameplay gimmick, so of course I'm the first one to awaken to one.
The self, as a manifestation of one's desires. Similar to archetypes. I suppose this is the very essence of magic.
You mean to say that it was not merely pretense to claim the prince's name? He truly was His Highness all along?
If that's true, this is finally your reunion with your sworn liege. Seems like cause for rejoicing, eh? Lady Hulkenberg of the Royal Guard.
I mean, it was gonna go two ways, right? It was either clearly the game built up like, oh, we have to save the prince. It was either like, there was no way that the prince... I did not see a world where the prince was going to be alive doing stuff and being his own character. It was either going to be they were separate characters, but the prince, like, they maybe get rid of the curse, but he dies some other way, which is what I thought as we got to this village. Or something like this, where it's like, oh, well, the prince and the protagonist are basically like, they might as well just be the same person. So, you know, I mean, it was going to be one of those two ways.
But I failed to protect His Highness.
No. I am sure the strength of your devotion had a hand in saving him.
While all and sundry believed the lad had shuffled off, you alone kept the faith, milady. And in the end, that faith was rewarded.
Fate was changed.
Are you really His Royal Highness the Prince? Please, forgive me, Your Highness. I failed you when you needed me most. And more, despite being a member of your royal guard, I did not recognize Your Highness at our meeting and showed you such insolence.
Water under the bridge. It's a good thing I existed and I could just, like, essentially, like, be the prince, basically. I was like the remainders, the leftovers, if you will.
It never bothered me.
Why'd you sound British there?
It never bothered me. It never bothered me.
You sound so British here.
That's right, Hulkenberg. We've been through so much together. What could we be but allies?
This time, I will protect you. Even should it cost me my very life. I swear to it.
Finally, we've done Grius proud. We've really done it.
By the way, what are we supposed to call you now? I mean, how would you prefer to be addressed, my lord?
I think the weirdest thing about this is that we already claimed to be the prince. Like, I remember when we saved the prince from his curse, we were claiming to be the prince and everyone was just seeing us as the prince. And then it turns out, oh, we're actually, like, the prince. Same way as always, I suppose.
Captain. Same as always.
No, Your Highness! With all respect, I must object.
This is no time to be thick-headed, Miguel. He's the one who gets to decide what we bally call him, so we'll listen to him, eh? What?
You, sir,
should be begging His Highness for forgiveness on bended knee. You mangled the royal runner to your own whimsy, you lout!
Well, that is. I mean, it was all dashed useful in the end, wasn't it? A bit of clemency, Your Highness.
So much for acting same as always.
Oh, what is the general public gonna think about this? They'll probably still hate my guts.